You've been sold a story. That honey in your tea, the agave in your healthy dessert. You think you are making a smarter choice than sugar. But what if I told you that, in many cases, you're just falling for a clever marketing ploy? In this video, we are going to uncover the big lie about healthy sweeteners and help you figure out which ones are genuinely different and which are just pricey sugar in disguise. We've all seen it, eye-catching packaging, boasting words like natural, unrefined, and from the earth. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry designed to make you feel good about indulging your sweet tooth. The catch: your body isn't fooled by marketing. For many of these so-called healthy alternatives, what's happening inside your body is alarmingly similar to what occurs when you consume plain old table sugar. This confusion can lead to frustration, stalled weight loss, and that nagging feeling that you're doing everything right but not seeing any results. Ever felt puzzled by sweetener labels? You're not alone, and that's exactly what we're going to clarify today. We'll dig into what these sweeteners really are. We'll categorize them, from those that are basically just sugar in a clever disguise to those that genuinely offer something different. We'll explore the science behind how they affect your blood sugar, gut health, and long-term wellness goals. By the end, you'll be able to stroll down any grocery aisle and know exactly what you're looking at, empowering you to make choices that truly align with your health goals. Let's kick things off with the first category, the sweeteners that are really just sugar in disguise. These are often hailed as natural, and while they do come from natural sources, your body processes them almost exactly like white sugar. First up, the golden child of natural sweeteners, honey. We associate it with nature, bees, and all things wholesome. Sure, honey has trace amounts of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that table sugar lacks. Some studies even suggest it has antibacterial properties and might offer slight benefits for blood pressure and inflammation when used in moderation. But here's the kicker: honey is still, at its core, sugar. It's made up of fructose and glucose, and a single tablespoon actually packs more calories than a tablespoon of white sugar. While it has a slightly lower glycemic index, meaning it might not spike your blood sugar quite as dramatically as pure sugar, the effect is still significant. Overdoing it on honey can lead to the same risks as overdoing it on sugar: weight gain and an increased risk of conditions like type 2 diabetes and heart disease. So, while it might be a small step up from refined sugar, it's not a free pass. Next, let's chat about agave nectar. For years, this was marketed as the ultimate diabetic-friendly sweetener because of its incredibly low glycemic index. And yes, agave doesn't spike your blood glucose levels much. But there's a catch. The reason its glycemic index is so low is that it's mostly fructose. In fact, some agave nectars can be around 70 to 80% fructose, which is still higher than high fructose corn syrup. While small amounts of fructose from whole fruits are fine, concentrated doses can put a serious strain on your liver. The liver is the only organ that can handle large amounts of fructose, and when it's overloaded, it starts turning that fructose into fat. This can lead to increased belly fat, fatty liver disease, and higher triglyceride levels, serious metabolic issues. So, while you might be dodging a blood sugar spike, you could be trading it for a different, potentially more insidious health problem. Finally, we have maple syrup and coconut sugar. Just like honey, pure maple syrup contains some minerals and antioxidants. Coconut sugar is often praised for having a fiber called inulin, which can slow glucose absorption, giving it a slightly lower glycemic index than table sugar. It also has small amounts of nutrients. But let's be clear, your body still sees these as sugar. They provide calories, they're made up of sucrose, fructose, and glucose, and they will affect your blood sugar and insulin levels. the tiny nutrient content doesn't come close to offsetting the metabolic effects of the sugar itself. Thinking of these as healthy is like thinking a cigarette with a vitamin-infused filter is a health product. The fundamental issue remains the same. These are all forms of added sugar, and health authorities recommend limiting them all. If you're finding this breakdown helpful and it's clearing up some of the confusion the food industry loves to create, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. We're all about cutting through the noise with real, science-backed information here. Now, let's move into a more complex category: sugar alcohols. You'll recognize these by their all ending: erythritol, xylitol, sorbitol, and mannitol. You'll often find them in sugar-free candies, gums, and baked goods. Sugar alcohols are a type of carbohydrate that's structured like a mix of a sugar molecule and an alcohol molecule. They're not fully absorbed by the small intestine, which is why they provide fewer calories than regular sugar and have a much smaller impact on blood sugar levels. This makes them seem like a great option for people with diabetes or those on low-carb diets. For instance, xylitol is known for its dental benefits, as it can help prevent cavities. However, there is a significant downside. Because they're not fully absorbed, they travel to the large intestine where they're fermented by gut bacteria. For many people, this can lead to uncomfortable digestive side effects like gas, bloating, and diarrhea, especially when consumed in larger quantities. And here's where it gets concerning. Recent research has raised alarms about erythritol, the most popular sugar alcohol. It's widely used in keto and low-calorie products. However, studies have linked high levels of erythritol in the blood to a significantly increased risk of major cardiovascular events like heart attacks and strokes. Research has shown that erythritol can make blood platelets more active and prone to clotting, which is a direct pathway to thrombosis. One study found that after consuming a typical amount of erythritol found in processed foods or drinks, levels in the blood stayed elevated for over 2 days, high enough to affect platelet function. While this research is still evolving, and some studies suggest that short-term use doesn't seem to pose the same risks, the potential for long-term harm has raised serious red flags, especially for those already at higher risk for cardiovascular disease. This places sugar alcohols firmly in a gray area. They might be better for your blood sugar, but they come with their own set of potential problems. Now, let's get to the good stuff. There's a category of sweeteners that are genuinely different in how they function in the body. These are the natural, zero-calorie sweeteners, with the 2 stars being stevia and monk fruit. Stevia is a sweetener extracted from the leaves of the Stevia rebaudiana plant, while monk fruit, or luo hungua, comes from a small, green melon-like fruit grown in Southeast Asia. Both have been used for centuries in their native regions. The sweetness from these sources comes from unique compound steviol glycosides in stevia and mogrosides in monk fruit. Here's why they stand out. These compounds are not metabolized by the body for energy. They provide intense sweetness, hundreds of times sweeter than sugar, but they pass through your digestive system without being absorbed. This means they have 0 calories and 0 impact on blood sugar or insulin levels, making them genuinely safe for people with diabetes. Both stevia and monk fruit also contain antioxidant compounds. Some folks find that stevia has a slightly bitter or licorice-like aftertaste, while monk fruit is often described as having a cleaner, more neutral sweetness. Just a heads up. Many commercial stevia and monk fruit sweeteners are bulked up with other ingredients to make them measure like sugar, and, often, that bulking agent is a sugar alcohol like erythritol. So, if you're concerned about the potential risks of erythritol, look for pure stevia or pure monk fruit extracts. What about classic artificial sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose? Regulatory bodies like the FDA, have consistently affirmed their safety for consumption within the acceptable daily intake, and they do not cause cancer. However, the long-term health debate is far from settled. In 2023, the World Health Organization issued a guideline advising against the long-term use of non-sugar sweeteners for weight control, citing observational studies that linked them to a potential increased risk of type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. Research also suggests that some artificial sweeteners, like sucralose and saccharin, can alter the balance of our gut microbiome, though the long-term consequences are still being studied. So, while they don't impact blood sugar, they may not be metabolically inert in other ways. This is complex stuff, and my goal is to give you the clearest picture possible. So, what is the big takeaway from all this? Just because a sweetener has a natural label doesn't automatically make it healthy. Honey, agave, and maple syrup are, for all intents and purposes, just sugar with better PR. They'll affect your body in a similar way and should be used sparingly. Sugar alcohols offer a low-calorie, low-glycemic alternative, but they come with potential digestive issues and, in the case of erythritol, serious cardiovascular concerns that need to be considered. The truly different options are zero-calorie natural sweeteners like stevia and monk fruit, which provide sweetness without the metabolic consequences, as long as you buy pure versions without added fillers. Ultimately, the best long-term strategy is to gradually reduce the overall sweetness of your diet. Relying too heavily on any sweetener, even the good ones, can keep your cravings for intense sweetness alive. Use them as a tool to help you transition away from sugar, not as a permanent crutch. Focus on whole foods. Learn to appreciate the natural sweetness in fruits and vegetables, and free yourself from the marketing hype. What's your go-to sweetener, and has this video made you rethink it? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.